Today we're going to be looking at creeping recordings left by missing people. I posted part 1 of this video a few months ago, so now we're going to have a look at part 2.
Susan Powell. The Salt Lake Tribune uploaded a video to YouTube in May of 2013. It depicts a woman named Susan Powell documenting the expensive assets in her home in the event that, quote, something happens to her.
Oh god, that's a bit weird, isn't it? She's literally posted a video on YouTube talking about all the expensive assets she's got, as if she's saying like something might be coming.
Hope everything works out and we're all happy and live happily ever after as much as that's possible.
She allegedly did so on the advice of her attorney. Viewers take notice of Powell's demeanor.
Yeah, she's like acting a bit weird, and why did she do it on the advice of her attorney? Who's her attorney? This is a bit weird. We're proper jumping in with a weird one, aren't we?
Which many claim is anxious, depressed, and generally defeated. This video was captured a year and a half before she disappeared in December of 2009. Powell technically remains missing, but many suspect her husband Joshua.
Wait, so that was posted in 2013, but she went missing a year before in 2009. So did someone post that years after? I don't know, I got a bit mixed up there, but that's weird, isn't it? So she did eventually go missing, and people think her husband might have something to do with it.
Believe that Josh maybe put Susan in the mine, lit her on fire and sent her down in the mine, and then have come back maybe a number of times to push soil and debris on top of her so that it would discourage people from finding her.
Oh my god, that was a bit gross. So what? I mean, the thing is, whenever someone goes missing, you know, you don't know what happened. That could have happened, or maybe she just wanted to start a new life. But I also think she might have had children.
A few years after Powell disappeared, Joshua lost custody of their children to Powell's parents and subsequently took the children's lives and his own.
I'm sorry, what? Nah, I'm sorry, that husband has to have done something. So the wife went missing, she was never found, and then he lost custody of the kids and he took his life and their life. I don't understand why people do that. If something bad happens in the family, why would you take your children's lives? It's kind of like the guy saying, look, I'm going and they're not going to be in my life, so I'm going to take my life and also their life, so it means that they're with me. I don't understand it, that's so freaky.
Lars Mittank. The case of Lars Mittank is as mysterious as it is unnerving. The 28-year-old German man was vacationing in Bulgaria with friends when he got into a physical altercation with some strangers over football.
I remember watching this in a video we posted a few months ago as well. If I'm correct, he eventually ran out of the airport, and it kind of looked like he was running from somebody, but then he ran into the woods and was like never seen again.
Mittank suffered a ruptured eardrum, which prevented him from flying home. With his friends gone, he began to act erratically. His odd behavior was captured on the hotel's CCTV. He reportedly called his mother and told her that 4 men were out to kill him. Mittank was last seen on CCTV fleeing Varna Airport and running into a nearby field.
That's so freaky, isn't it? Because it's like obviously something was going on, or maybe he was being followed. But it kind of makes you think, it's like, where did he go? Because they never found him. It's just creepy, isn't it? It's like, what literally happened? Also, if I was in an airport and someone ran out like that, I'd be getting freaked out. I'd be thinking I'd just dropped the bomb off.
He hasn't been seen or heard from since, and the reason for his sudden paranoia remains unknown.
And that's just freaky, isn't it? It's like no one knows where he is and like what happened. I mean, he could have started a brand new life, or maybe he's in like the field somewhere.
Brandon Lawson. On the night of August 9th, 2013, Brandon Lawson got into an argument with his partner Ledessa Lofton and left home just before midnight. Soon after, he called his brother Kyle, saying that he was being chased out of town and had run out of gas. Kyle worried that his brother, who was involved in drugs, was tripping. But following that, Lawson made an eerie call to 911, saying that he was being chased into the woods.
Oh god, that's weird. So I think we're gonna hear what the call is. It did say that he maybe had a past with drugs, so maybe like the argument, you know, pushed him to take some to try to numb the pain, and then it's like kind of turned him a bit psychotic.
Yes, I'm in the middle of the field. It's like we're just pushing guys over. We're out here going towards Javelin on both sides. My truck ran out of gas. There's one car here. Got chased into the woods. Please hurry.
When Kyle and the police arrived on the scene, Brandon's truck was abandoned.
That's weird, isn't it? Because like that phone call was literally the last ever phone call. It's quite crazy, isn't it? It's like someone does go missing or like something bad happens to somebody, you always see like the clip that was like last taken of them. They didn't know that moments later something could have happened to them.
Kyle's girlfriend Audrey reportedly received a call from Brandon, who said that he was just up the road and bleeding. However, he was never seen or heard from again.
Could they not have like tracked down that call or like seen if it was real? I mean, I feel awful for the girlfriend. She's probably gonna blame herself for that. That's why I try my best not to argue with people, because I'm scared like they're gonna do something themselves and like hurt themselves, and then like you'll feel guilty about it. Because the thing is with arguments, you know, you're heated for about an hour and then like it'll blow over and you'll like forget about it. But obviously like he took it to heart and like something bad happened.
Corey McKeague. On September 23rd, 2016, RAF Regiment gunner Corey McKeague went drinking with some friends in Suffolk, England. At 3:25 the next morning, McKeague was spotted on CCTV entering the cul-de-sac of Brent Gobble Street.
Yeah, again, this is what is so creepy. It's the fact that that CCTV. I'm assuming that this is the man right here. I think this is probably like the last footage of him ever seen because he literally disappeared. Where did he go and like what happened to him?
An area that contained several wheelie bins. He never left the cul-de-sac. McKeague failed to report for work the following Monday, instigating a missing persons case. His phone was eventually tracked to a landfill, and while extensive searches were undertaken, nothing conclusive was found.
So he literally walked into that area and wasn't seen leaving. It makes you think, like, is he there? Did something else happen? I mean, you don't know. There's all types of people out there that could be looking for a victim. He could have went like underground. Like for all we know, he could have like somehow like crawled into a drain.
The prevailing theory is that a drunk McKeague fell asleep inside a wheelie bin and was crushed by a garbage truck. His remains may have been accidentally incinerated at the landfill, but this theory is contested by many, including McKeague's mother.
It's weird, isn't it? It's like that could have happened. I have heard the stories about homeless people who sleep in bins and then like obviously they get put into the bin machine or like the what do they call them? I can't even remember. But basically they get, you know, like put into that stuff and then bad stuff happens. That's why you always need to check the bins before you like unload them.
So my absolute plea is somebody in the public does know something. They need to give the police that information so that the police have got somewhere to start looking for Corey.
What she just said is so true. Like with stuff like that, there's usually at least one person in the world who knows. And that's so freaky, isn't it? There's someone who knows what happened to Madeleine McCann, people who disappear, even that man. But of course, they're never going to come forward.
Claudia Lawrence. On the night of March 18th, 2009, Lawrence returned home from work and sent a text to a friend at 8:23 p.m. This would be the last time anyone heard from her.
All of a sudden, she wasn't there. It eats into you. Literally eats into you all the time, and that's the not knowing.
I feel so bad for her father because you can tell he's proper choking up. Yet again, that one text would be her last one and no one knows what happened. I feel like people also kind of forget that even though like we don't know these people, they have family and friends, like they were a person. You know, that's a genuine actual human.
CCTV footage was found showing a light-colored Ford Focus driving down the road the morning of March 19th and braking outside Lawrence's house. Despite years of investigation, the case went cold until 2013 when the new major crime unit was unveiled.
Okay, so the case went cold for a few years and now in 2013 they've got a new crime unit. Are they gonna find her? Oh god, I don't like this. I hate watching these videos, but they're like so interesting.
They found that Lawrence's cell phone was mysteriously turned off the day after her disappearance, and unidentified fingerprints were found in her house.
Okay, so there's unidentified fingerprints, so obviously someone else was in there. I personally think that everyone should be fingerprinted. I know that's like kind of controversial, but you know, if you're gonna go into a country or live there, I do believe they should get your DNA or like a swab of your mouth for fingerprints. And there should be like a big worldwide system where it's like you scan their fingerprint and it tells you who they are. Because like imagine if someone like pretends that they're someone they're not and then like their fingerprint tells you who they are. You could help solve like a crime or like someone who's wanted in a certain country.
Several people have been arrested under suspicion of murder, but a lack of evidence and cooperation from witnesses have prevented any charges from being laid.
So obviously they think they know what happened. I mean, it is quite obvious whenever someone disappeared, they're not ever really found. But yet again, it's just like so sad to think that someone obviously knows someone done it and like they've never came forward and admitted it. And you know, her family's gonna have to live with that until it's like solved, if they're still alive by that point.
Amber Tuckerow. This 20-year-old woman from Alberta's Mikisew Cree First Nation was last seen just outside Edmonton on August 18th, 2010. She got a ride into Edmonton from an unknown male and was never seen again. 2 years after her disappearance, a cell phone recording was released of Tuckerow speaking with the man, and she can be heard adamantly questioning his directions and their true destination.
Oh god, that's freaky. So we're gonna listen to like the voice recording. Why did they always release it 2 years after? Is that like when they got it? Surely it should be like one of the first things you release. But like imagine you listen to that and like you literally hear like your brother, like your friend who's like the man in the video.
You better not take me anywhere I don't want to go. I want to go into the city. Jeez. Yo, we're not going into the city, are we? No, we're not.
Just 4 days after the recording was released, police found Tuckerow's skull in a farmer's field.
Oh my god, that's awful. So 4 days after that, they found, you know, the remains. I mean, obviously that person wasn't taking her into the city. That's why you don't get into cars with people who you don't know. Am I the only one who thinks she kind of sounded a bit drunk or like intoxicated? I hope she didn't drink anything. But yet again, that's why you can't trust anyone.
The investigative work behind her disappearance has been highly criticized, and the Alberta RCMP even apologized to Tuckerow's family. The apology was fiercely rejected.
Of course it it would be they're not doing enough to literally find her. They found her body and now they've got audio recordings. They should hopefully be able, you know, to use that. That's quite sad, isn't it? I feel like sometimes some cases are put above others. I mean, there's a lot of missing people out there.
Kenny Veach. In 2014, hiker Kenny Veach left a comment on a YouTube video in which he explained coming across a creepy M-shaped cave in the desert and fleeing in terror.
Okay, so we've actually seen this in another video. Basically, the man apparently goes into like this cave or like this drain or like sewer thing, and he's obviously never seen again. So we don't know if he's in there and got like hurt and stayed down there, or like if something worse happened.
And something about that cave just spooked me. Out of all the caves I've ever gone in, this one just made my body vibrate.
Eager YouTube commenters encouraged Veach to return and document his experiences, and while he did so, he failed to find the cave, but he did come across an abandoned mine shaft.
So obviously he's went down there and then has never really came out. It makes you think that if them people never commented and told him to do that, he probably would still be here. That's why if you're ever going to do exploration videos, take a few people with you, because you can't do it on your own. What happens if someone's following you or something bad happens to you?
Disappointed viewers urged Veach to try again. He set out once more, never to return. His phone was eventually found outside the very mine shaft that was recorded in his previous video. A woman claiming to be his girlfriend later commented on the video, stating her belief that Veach had taken his own life and left his phone behind so as not to be tracked.
I mean, you don't know, that could have happened, or maybe he went in there to have a wee look around and something bad happened. I mean, I watch videos where people go into the earth and in the caves and it's genuinely terrifying. I don't know how they can do it because I get very like freaked out and like claustrophobic. He could have, you know, sadly ended his life, or maybe he went in there and got stuck and realized that he's going to be there forever.
Trevor Deely. On December 7th, 2000, 22-year-old IT worker Trevor Deely was attending a work Christmas party at a nightclub in Dublin.
So as he left the club, Trevor was in control of himself. The question is, did he come across someone later who was to become instrumental in his disappearance?
Deely left the club at 3:25 in the morning and stopped at work, where he briefly spoke to a mysterious man in black outside the business gates.
So who is he? And is it possible he followed Trevor after this?
Okay, right, so the man's left the event, he's outside his work and he's talking to a random man. I don't know which one's Trevor, either this one or that one, but one of them men is not Trevor, and like they could have had something to do with it. Yet again, this is in 2000, so this was before I was born. This was like over 22 years ago.
Even in this grainy state, this footage may hold the key to unlocking the mystery of what happened to Trevor.
At 4:14 after leaving work, Deely was spotted walking home on CCTV footage, with a man in black following roughly 30 seconds behind.
It's this man here I believe we should be focusing on. Captured on camera less than 30 seconds after Trevor.
Yet again, it's so freaky, isn't it? Because obviously that Trevor guy didn't know what was about to happen, and I think that man has got something to do with it. This is why you have to be careful whenever you go out with multiple people. If you're going to go out in dark places, don't go on your own. It's just like so crazy to think that like obviously that man had something planned at the back of his head, and I don't think we ever found out who he was.
Police believe this is the same man who spoke to Deely. Unfortunately, that was the last known recording of Deely, and the case has since gone cold. The man remains unidentified, and no one knows what was discussed or why Deely was seemingly followed.
We don't know what happened, and that's so freaky. 22 years ago, and that man who obviously had something to do with it, I think, he's just lived on his life. Like, he could literally be my father for all I know. It's just so freaky, isn't it? This is literally why I'm terrified of going out and like speaking to people.
Henry McCabe. On the morning of September 7th, 2015, Corrine McCabe received a horrifying voicemail from her husband Henry. It features what sounds like menacing growls and human moaning before a voice is heard saying, "Stop it."
Oh, what? Okay, we're about to listen to the voicemail, but brace yourselves, this sounds creepy.
Henry McCabe was quickly declared a missing person.
Oh, what was that? Like, what was literally that voicemail? It sounded like an animal, like a tiger, and then like a man. Oh, I don't like that. Like, imagine getting a voicemail like that. I don't even listen to my voicemails because I'm scared it's going to be someone freaky.
The last person to see him alive told investigators that he dropped off McCabe at a convenience store following a night of partying. McCabe remained missing for over 2 months until his body was found in a lake roughly 6 miles from the convenience store.
It's sad his body was found, but at least the family can kind of get peace and, you know, put him to rest. But like, what? That's so freaky, that voicemail. I hate that.
The weird thing is that the medical examiner found no apparent injuries on McCabe's body, leading many to question the source and reasoning for the eerie sounds captured on voicemail.
I try to picture where he was, what it might have been like, what circumstances would have made him.
Yeah, that's like weird. It's like there was no suspicious like things in his body, but obviously that voicemail is suspicious and then he was found. That's weird, isn't it? I mean, it makes you think what actually happened. Only that guy knows, and you know, sadly he isn't here. Well, anyways guys, that's where we're gonna leave that video there. That's some creepy recordings left by missing people. If you want to see me watch more creepy videos like this in the future, let me know, definitely will. Press the big red subscribe button, and yes, I'll see you all in my next video.